What is up? All right, today I want to talk about sunk cost. It's a concept I learned in business school. Did get a master's degree in business a few years back, and I love applying those concepts to the flip game. And hopefully I can share some of them with you, and it can be helpful to you as well. But as far as that is concerned, I'm trying in an effort here to create some YouTube content that is a little bit different than what all the other flippers are putting out there, because I have seen a lot of the same recycled, regurgitated type stuff out there, and I'm just trying to give you something fresh, something that might be a little helpful for you, and it's actually applying real business strategy to it. So without further ado, what is sunk cost? Well, sunk cost is as simple as what you've paid for something, what you've invested into something, what you've put into something. And that can be in the form of money, obviously. That can be in the form of blood, sweat, and tears. That can be in the form of sweat equity, intellectual thought. That can be in the form of sleepless nights. There's so many different ways that you could quantify sunk cost. But the bottom line is, it's what you've already put in. It's not what you're going to put in, what you plan on putting in. It's what you've already put into something to date, right? And when it comes to sunk cost, the concept that I've learned and that I've applied successfully in life, and like I said, it won't only help you in business, but can help you in many areas, because this concept is life-changing. It's a really good tool to have and understand. And the reason I think that it's of value to people out there is because I notice, like, some of the biggest, baddest companies that are on the planet, Fortune 500 companies, MLB teams, NFL teams, they all seem to struggle with the concept of sunk cost, and actually regular everyday people do as well in life decisions too. And this concept of sunk cost is something that once you understand it, and once you apply it correctly, it's life-changing, and it can affect more than just your business. It can affect, your love life, your personal life, all of that. You can really use this to help you. And so, like I said, sunk cost is what you've put into something, the amount you've already invested in it, not what you plan on investing in it, not what you are going to do with it, but it's what you've already put in. It's gone. It's sunk. It's like the Titanic. It's at the bottom of the ocean. You're not getting it back. Okay? That's what sunk cost is. Anyone that's ever run a business, any flipper out there, it doesn't matter if you've gone to school or not, you've dealt with sunk cost. You've dealt with the concept of it, and you've had to make a decision based on it. And so when it comes to decisions based on it, the golden rule of sunk cost is we never, ever, ever make a decision based on sunk cost. And that is 100% across the board. The amount of money and the amount of time and effort that you've put into something is completely irrelevant to getting you from point B to point C, right? You might have wanted to get from point A to point C originally, but now you're at point B and you're looking at the horizon and you're thinking, what is the best thing for us to get from B to C now? And it might not involve, it's just like everything that you put into the original plan does not matter, right? It does not matter. And like I said, the reason why this is of value is because there's so many big time companies, $1 million companies, that I see making the mistake of it. And obviously I understand that the more money that you have invested into something, and the more of something that you have invested into something, it makes the decision harder, right? But at the end of the day, it's the same damn decision. It's the same thing. You should always come to the same conclusion. And so where do we see examples of poor sunk costs? Well, I see it in sports all the time. I see it like in the NFL, if you're talking about a quarterback that, you got one quarterback that you pay more than the other, but the other one is an up-and-coming young guy, and he might be better for the job. But you'll see coaches and organizations all the time say, well, we're going to go ahead and start so-and-so. And in the back of your head, you got to think, well, it's because they pay him more. And that's really what their reasoning is. They're thinking, well, we already paid him all this money. We might as well get something out of it, right? Wrong. You're not going to get anything out of it but the worse outcome than you would by picking the best possible solution, right? And so that applies so many different ways. Another one of my favorite examples is the Baltimore Orioles with Chris Davis. They pay the guy $1 bajillion, and he's batting 160 on the season, like a real live Major League Baseball player batting 160, not even 200, like not even the Mendoza line, but they trot him out there almost every day because they figure, well, we might as well get something for our money, right? Every hit he gets is like we paid whatever amount of dollars for that hit, and we might as well at least get some hits from him since we already paid him, right? Wrong. Terrible decision making. That is an example of making a decision based on sunk cost. The best solution for that team, or if they want to win, like winning games from this point to the end of the season, is not the guy hitting 160, is it? It's any other person that's hitting above 160 is going to be an upgrade from that. Meaning that the money that you paid Chris Davis means nothing. It's completely irrelevant. It's a sunk cost. You shouldn't make a decision based on it. You should figure out who's going to hit the best the next day, and that's who you put out there. And that's the best decision you can make, right? And that's, for whatever reason, it's like this, like the hardest thing for these teams and these companies to understand and grasp the concept of. And so how is that helpful in the flip game? Well, of course it's helpful in the flip game. How many times have you bought something and you thought, oh man, this is the big one, right? This is the one. I found something and it's just going to flip quick and I'm going to make so much money off of it and it's going to be crazy. And then you get it home and it's like you put it up there and the crickets just start chirping. And you're like, dang, was this a bad investment? Well, come to find out, the price point that you thought you were going to get, well, the market changed or something happened, right? And now you have the decision of, well, do I sit on this item and just wait for the market to go back to normal? Do I just sit and hope that some guy comes along and pays me the money I want? Or do I readjust and make a decision based on what's best for me and not based on what I've already paid for that item, right? And so, using simple numbers, you bought 10 widgets for $500. So you paid $50 a widget, right? But the kicker here is that you bought these knowing that the widgets, they sell for $100 all day. So you expect to make $100 a widget off your 10 widgets. You're going to gross $1,000. You're going to take the $500 that you paid for the widgets off of there, and you're going to profit $500, right? Everyone's going to love it. You're going to spend that $500. You're going to make it rain at the club. I don't know what you're going to do with it. Hopefully reinvest it. But, you made it, right? You've got it. You got the one. But then something happens, right? Let's say it was like a player jersey or something you bought, and that player got traded the next day, and you're like, crap. I just spent all this money on player X's jersey, and I got 10 of them for $50 a piece, and they're going to sell for $100 a piece, and this was just like a foolproof plan for me. Well, now the market's saying that these jerseys are only worth $20 each. What can I do? Well, a poor decision in sunk cost is to just say, well, I have to get at least $50 a jersey for these. Well, and an even poorer decision is I'm going to still try to get $100 a jersey for these, right? That's the worst decision of all. But let's even just say that you're like, screw it, I'm okay with just breaking even. Let's just get out of this. Also not the best decision for your business at that time. You're still looking at sunk cost and thinking, I paid $500, I want to get at least $500 back. No, you're not. The best decision for your business going forward at that point is to sell all those jerseys for $20 a piece, pocket the $200, take the $300 loss, and go about your day. Move on. Go to the next one. On to the next one. Do not make a decision based on sunk cost. And I gave you like the simplest example of a decision based on sunk cost. And I said that it could apply to other things. Well, it definitely can apply to other things. Let me give you an example here. How about you're dating a girl and, you've dated her for 5 years and now she turns out it's just not working out, right? But you just keep thinking, well, I already put 5 years into this thing, but, and it has to be something that's a deal breaker. Let's not say that it's like just things are getting rocky, but, it's a deal breaker. That's it, right? Well, I have to stay because, I've invested all this time in it. Like, what if she's like robbing banks? She's just decided she's out robbing banks. And you're like, well, crap, I don't want to be married to a bank robber, but I already spent 5 years with her. So I should probably just at least try to work it out, right? Wrong! You're just opening up a world of headaches for you. Don't worry about the 5 years you put into there. Dump that bank robbing girl and go get you another one. Perfect decision in sunk cost management. And so hopefully you can understand what sunk cost is now, how it applies, how it's a simple concept, and how you can use it not just for your business, but for your life and for everything. And let me just go, before I part with you here, let me just tell you that there are no decisions in business that you should factor sunk cost in. I mean, there's just no real plain day situation where you're like, oh, but I already paid $100 for it, I should probably do this, or I already invested this amount of time into this idea, and all of a sudden it's not working out. Like say you put all this money into building a Vine profile or an Amazon store, and the next day Amazon wasn't the best place to sell anymore. Well, you wouldn't just stick with that idea of going full force towards Amazon now, would you? I would hope not. I would hope that you would understand what we talked about here today when it comes to sunk cost, and that if that is no longer the best plan for you going forward, that you will drop that plan and forget about what you've put into it and just say, I need to do what's best for me going forward, and be at peace with it. All right, guys. Check you later.